Welcome, everyone, to the MMA Happy Hour podcast. I am Kyle Anthony, your host, where today we are talking UFC 312. We've got Dricus du Plessis versus Strickland. We're going to be breaking down 4 plays here on the show today. We are coming off a nice weekend. Last weekend, 7 units for clients cashing in, but we got to keep it rolling, put the profits in our pocket, put it in the bankroll, and we are going to dive into this week. I do have a 5-unit play for this Saturday. Already 3 plays I have up for clients. If you want to become a client, link down in the description. And with that being said, we are going to jump right into the main event of the evening between Dricus du Plessis and Strickland. Now, this is a rematch from a fight back in January of 2024, a very close fight. You know, you talk to people, some of them think that Sean edged it out. You got some people who thought that Dricus got the victory. We did bet Dricus in that particular spot there, but you know, you look at the strikes landed, it was interesting to see that Strickland did outland him 173 to 137. Now, the interesting part about that is just kind of how it all played out. Now, you had Strickland who, you know, was landing some shots, was doing what he needed to do, but there's 2 big reasons pretty much why Dricus got the nod. And I think the first thing is going to be the more impactful shots came from DDP. He was able to land big shots, throw big power overhands, and the power advantage that he has, you can see it. You know, when Sean's landing these pitter-patter shots, it's not having the effect that it does when Dricus is landing big shots. So that was one part of it. Plus the damage was there, a lot of damage on Strickland as well. But the other part of it was these late takedowns from DDP. This was something that I thought he fought really smart in this fight here, where they were having maybe the round was somewhat tight. They were going back and forth, both landing some shots, and then late in the round, level changes, gets the takedown, throws some big shots from top position, and probably gives them the round. And that's really something that he can maybe do in this particular spot, because you look at Strickland's going to be Strickland. He's going to do the same things that he always does do. He's going to come forward. He's going to walk forward. He's going to throw 1-2 combinations, utilize the jab, utilize teep kicks to the body. And pretty much that's what he does. He's a guy that doesn't overthrow shots, doesn't commit to his shots fully. He just, more or less putting 70% into these punches instead of really looking to knock you out. And that has worked out well for him. But also in this spot, he's going to need to wrestle. He's going to need to mix it up. He's going to need to kind of force a brawl a little bit more and really push that volume, because if he doesn't wrestle here, DDP is going to look for those takedowns. And again, it's the same type of Strickland. Fight after fight, 1-2 combinations, move forward, weaponize the cardio. And that, again, it's possible it can work out well for him, but there is the landscape for DDP to find success again. And also, I wasn't impressed with Strickland's, fight against Paulo Costa. It was like a glorified sparring match. They both guys kind of pitter-pattered shots. They stood at range. I think the crowd was booing. There just wasn't much action. And, to me, it really starts to show really where the dog is, and more it's in, I think, DDP. DDP is going to fight smart here. He's going to mix it up a lot better as well. And that forward pressure, he brings it. He's going to look, he's going to come forward. He's going to try to crash the pocket a little bit as well. And again, utilize that power advantage, landing the bigger shots, moving forward. And again, we saw optically that if he can get, some takedowns, he can get the judges behind him. And, 6 takedowns against Strickland. He averages 3 takedowns per 15 minutes. So again, this is a path for him. This is a spot for him that he can find success. And also you got to add in, and probably one of the toughest parts really facing Dricus is how unorthodox he is. Just an awkward style, tough to get a beat on him, throws combinations from very different angles overall. His footwork is very awkward. And, he's able to really kind of utilize this like herky-jerky kind of style and then blitz forward with big shots, and then blitz forward, look for takedowns. And it's just a very awkward style to really get a beat on or get a read on what he's looking to do moving forward. But when you're looking at this fight, I gotta go with Dricus again here. I think that, he has the ability to get this job done. And what I look at it also is the fact that Sean is durable. Sean's a durable guy. He's normally defensively sound. He can take some shots. And this is more where I'm leaning that it's going to play out very similar to their first fight, where there could be some competitive rounds. I think that Dricus can get these takedowns, can get some top control, ride out some control time, and then also land the more impactful shots again here. So in this spot here, I'm going Dricus du Plessis to keep the title, but I'm going him by points. That's sitting around plus 165. I like it. I love that plus money, and I think he gets the job done via points. Next one here we're going to be talking about is going to be Tatiana Suarez versus Weili Zhang. Now, you've got Tatiana taking money in here. She's now minus 120 in the comeback. You've got Zhang sitting around plus 100. Now, no doubt, Weili has been a dominant champion. There's very few fights where she is not fighting for a title or defending her title, over the last so many years. And her big thing for her is having that physicality advantage, being able to move forward, bully opponents overall, and just outmuscle them. And even in spots where, it's getting tougher or there's certain spots up against the cage, she's very strong, kind of pushing these, creating space, finding opportunities, and then working her great striking in there. The big issue for me here on the Weili side is going to be the big red flag is the fact that Weili's weakness lines up really with the strength of Tatiana Suarez. And this is going to be in any podcast that you watch this week. Everyone's going to, it's really, is Weili going to defend the takedowns? Is Tatiana going to get the takedowns? And that's really where this fight is going to be won or lost. But you look at it and just historically kind of what's going on. And especially when I was going back and watching tape on both of these women here, 50% takedown defense rate for Weili, not the greatest, middle of the road. But when you look at it, fighters that wanted to take Weili down were able to take Weili down. And not only just that, but they were also able to get some control time, and these were lesser grapplers compared to Tatiana that found some success. She was stuck on bottom in certain spots. And you kind of look at it in past performances, Rose Namajunas, who, yes, she's got grappling, but she's not really this, at least in my opinion, has no physicality. More or less, has well-timed takedowns, but overall, it's not the most impressive when you're looking at her pure wrestling. Yes, on the ground, very slick, high-level jiu-jitsu, but she went 2 for 2 against Weili with 7 minutes of control time. And, this was their second fight after Rose had knocked out Weili. But this was so important because it showed the path. It showed little resistance for Rose, where this was, I believe it was the 4th or 5th round where these takedowns happened, where there were no takedowns really early, and then it was coming late. And you saw once, Rose saw that there was opportunities there, she stuck with it. She said, if I can keep her down and bank the rounds, I'm going to be doing it. She was able to do that and secured the victory. And then also you even have Yan Shonan. Yan Shonan is not really a wrestler, and then she went out there and went 3 for 3 on takedowns. Yes, she lost the fight, but it still shows that there is that path there. And now these girls are able to take down Weili. I do believe that, now she's about to face arguably the best female wrestler in the sport in Tatiana Suarez. She's got to have more success and at a higher clip when you're talking about takedowns. And then also, Tatiana, great takedown ability, very quick overall, quick transitions, find dominant position very well, heavy top pressure where she can kind of work on opponents, ground and pound, start to hunt for submissions. And then also, the physicality of Weili has been really, her bread and butter. That's been just, she's always had that physicality advantage. I think that Tatiana can match some of that. And now if you've got somebody who can match some of this physicality and then is a better technical wrestler, I think in the clinch, that's going to help her big time to get these takedowns, latch something on, and find those opportunities. And also, I was very impressed with Tatiana's last fight. Now, the big part here also is that, she has not had that much, definitely as of late, but that many fights. And obviously, there's outside of the cage things going on. But anything that you look at where she's actually been in the cage has looked fantastic. She has looked dominant. And then her most recent fight against Jessica Andrade, who is, 72% takedown defense rate, strong, physical, and still in those spots, Tatiana found 3 takedowns and submitted her in the second round. And that to me speaks volumes of really how this can all play out for Tatiana. And then the other part here is the fact that Weili over her last two fights really was leaning on some wrestling. She was leaning on that wrestling. And you look at it, 6 takedowns against Yan Shonan with nearly 13 minutes of control time. And then also against Amanda Lemos, 6 takedowns there as well with 16 minutes of control time. Now, those paths are not going to be there. I don't expect Weili to start to shoot takedowns on Tatiana. Tatiana, I think, will absolutely dominate. Yes, Weili's going to have the better striking. There's no doubt about that. But I don't think it's going to matter because Tatiana, at range, I think she's going to be okay, but she's going to time these takedowns. Weili can explode forward. I think there's going to be opportunities for level changes, and I do believe she finds the victory here. So in this spot here, I'm going Tatiana Suarez to get the job done. And the next one here we're going to talk about is Vyacheslav Borshchev minus 150 versus Tom Nolan plus 118. Now, you've got the striking coach from Team Alpha Male in Borshchev, a really solid kickboxer, a lifelong kickboxer. On their side, you've got the 24-year-old prospect in Tom Nolan, who is also a striker. Now, there's no doubt that Borshchev is going to be the better technical striker. There's definitely no doubt about it. He's got high-level striking arsenal. The guy's got decently fast combinations overall. But to me, when I'm looking back at these fights and really seeing what I'm seeing with Borshchev, it just appears to me that he's kind of on the decline. 33 years old now, and he has taken a ton of damage as of late. And there are a lot of red flags, in my opinion, against Borshchev in this spot. And the first part here is a durability concern. Now, not saying that Tom Nolan has a granite chin there. He can be hit as well, too. But he's also 24, and I do believe that he's going to continually get better. But I also think that, the chin of Borshchev is really absolutely on the decline. And just the way that he absorbs shots, to me, isn't good. It's just not good overall. The chin looks iffy. And if there's ever going to be a display of not having a good chin is when Chase Hooper knocks you down. So Chase Hooper dropping Borshchev, I think, is really a bad look overall. But you also got to add in the fact of the wars that he's been in, I think, are finally catching up with Borshchev. He's been in absolutely wars over the last 3 fights. He's taken a ton of damage, and that has to have an effect on him at this particular point. And even also is the other issue here is the cardio. I thought it doesn't look good, especially even in his last fight against James Yontop, where Yontop is a green brawler kind of thing, and he doesn't really present too much. And still, yes, Borshchev got the victory. It was a split decision. I actually did think that Yontop might have edged it out, but either way, it was a very close fight, a pure striking fight where Borshchev should have teed off on him from beginning to end. And yet, middle of the fight to the third round started to show Borshchev started to tick down. It just seemed like, he was getting walked down. Yontop was moving forward, finding a lot of success on the feet. And, he was hurting him big time near the end of that fight. So I thought it didn't look that good. I put Yontop below the striking of Tom Nolan. I think Tom Nolan can be able to land. And then you also look at it here is that there is a clear vulnerability on the Borshchev side, and it's going to be his takedown defense. Now, I'm not expecting Tom Nolan to be diving at legs, for 3 rounds, but at 24 years old, he is going to be making improvements fight after fight. And we know what Borshchev is already. He's got shit takedown defense, but he's got some high-level striking and can be taken down by a gust of wind. I think that Tom Nolan, if he's really looking to game plan here and fight smart, he has to add those in. Even if he can't get him down, I just think that having the ability to just mix it up a little bit, change the pace a little bit, have Borshchev working or thinking about and worrying about the takedowns, knowing he doesn't have the best, ground game at all, really is going to speak volumes here. And if you look at it, over Borshchev's last 8 fights, he's been taken down 29 times. So if there's ever a beaming light flashing for what Tom Nolan should do, he should add that in a little bit to just help himself and mix it in. And also, you add in the physicality side of things and the frame of Tom Nolan. Tom Nolan's going to be 4 inches taller. He's going to have a 4-inch reach advantage, going to be 8 years younger than Borshchev, a lot less MMA mileage overall. And I think, again, he's going to make improvements. This could maybe be the worst version of Borshchev we've ever seen, and maybe the best version of Tom Nolan that we have seen here too. So, and you got to sprinkle in the fact that He's going to be on home soil, Tom Nolan in Australia. So in this spot here, give me the plus money. Give me Tom Nolan plus 118. And the last one here we're going to talk about is going to be Rodolfo Bellato versus Jimmy Crute. And we've got Bellato here. He is minus 160 on the comeback here. We've got Jimmy Crute plus 135. Now, this one here, I think is going to be an absolute car crash. I think you're just going to see pure violence between these two guys because there is multiple issues here for both of these guys. Now, you got both of them who are willing to throw hard, stand in the pocket exchange, but are defensively inefficient. They're both unreliable, and they have multiple flaws in all different areas. So that alone is going to bring a lot of volatility to this fight and going to lead to probably an early finish for somebody. Now, Crute is coming off a fight against Alonzo Menefield where he got submitted at 28 years old, decides to retire from the sport, was done. To me, that already is just screaming a guy who, doesn't have his heart in this, is mentally broken, is pretty much done with the sport. Now, he is back, but he's also back because it's in Australia. And that is a situation where maybe he's coming back here for a paycheck. Maybe he just wants to come in here just to fight, get that paycheck. It's in his home soil. I just think that could lead to a guy that probably isn't training. Is this guy really putting the time in the gym, really working hard to come back? That will remains to be seen. But also the fact that both these guys have major issues in the cage. Terrible striking defense, as I just said, 44% striking defense for both of these guys. That's not good, but yet they're both willing to brawl. They're both willing to trade. They're both willing to throw, and also they both throw wild combinations and leave themselves very much exposed for any type of counters. And again, low fight IQ. They both make mistakes, poor decision making. I mean, just it's on and on with both of these guys. So, you're looking at the line here where it's spread. I think this should almost be a minus 110 on each side. I think either guy has a shot here. But when you're looking at it, the bad performance now for Rodolfo was, recently he fought Ior Pretoria, who is, Ior's not good, pretty much a punching bag. And he was beating the brakes off of Bellato early in that fight and then does what Ior does. He gassed out and allowed Rodolfo to come back, find the finish, get the victory. So credit to him on that. But again, you're losing to Menefield. You're almost lost to Pretoria. Bad looks overall. And when you look at this fight here, again, it is screaming violence. And that's where I'm going with this fight here. So you look at Crute, he's 12-4 with 16 professional fights. He's only been to the decision 3 times. Bellato, 12-2, that's 14 fights, career fights. Only 1 time has been to the decision. So this is a spot here where now this isn't widely available right now, this line, but it is on some overseas books. And I do like under 2.5 rounds is minus 163, a little chalked up here, but I think this should be, minus 275, minus 300. I think there is just a high probability of this fight ending within the first round and a half. But if you can get the under 2.5 rounds and pay a little bit up on that, I think it's a strong play. Might not be a bad parlay piece as well too. But I do like this under 2.5 rounds at minus 163. So there you have it for my plays for UFC 312. If you want to become a client, again, link down in the description. Cashed out last weekend. We're looking to keep this going overall. Again, we got a ton of events coming up over the next few months, back to back to back to back. So a lot of opportunity to place our money in strong positions. Let's get it done this weekend and let's cash.